Hello everyone, it's Gina Page from AfricanAncestry.com. I'm back in the office. Last week you guys caught me. I was trying to catch my flight in Boston, and it ended up being a terrible thunderstorm, and my flight was delayed until 10:15. Well, actually 11:20, but I got on I stood by and got on the earlier flight that was only delayed till 10:15. Nevertheless, it was a great trip. I visited Harvard Business School with Professor Stephen Rogers, and he's doing some amazing things for Black folks up at Harvard in the business school. He has a course, the only course of its kind, called Black Business Leaders and Entrepreneurship. And all of his cases, the case study is a method that's used in business schools. All of his cases are on Black business leaders and entrepreneurs. And they're not race-based stories. They're actually business cases, but somehow, imagine that, he was able to find Black companies to illustrate the principles. So I had a great time visiting with him, and I'm looking forward to working with him. He's definitely a member of my tribe. So I'm here, I'm back in DC, and this week we are going to talk about families and family ancestry tracing tips and what you can do as a family to learn more about your family's history. Speaking of history, I have to shout out, yesterday was Nelson Mandela's 99th birthday, I believe, and that's amazing. Can you believe that he would have been 99 years old? He's such an icon. While we look at him and see an older man, he still feels kind of ageless to me. I looked up a quote of his that I love now, and our Uber producer, Ty Brooks, is going to steal it, but his quote is, "By ancestry, I was born to rule. By ancestry, I was born to rule." I mean, that says it all for us, you all. We have the same ancestry. Dominique wants to know, how does she share this to other social media platforms? I don't know. Maybe afterwards, Dominique, you can forward.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll find out.
She can share it to her page.
You can share it to your page now, your Facebook page, and then if you have it linked up to your IG or Twitter, then it will go on there as well, I think. I don't know. Okay, so happy birthday to Nelson Mandela. May his spirit continue to live within all of us that share his ancestry. How about that? Okay, so I thought we should share these family ancestry tracing tips that we have, and we're going to post these so that you can download them after the Facebook Live and use them to your, however you want. There are about 5 or so tips. The first one, when you're thinking about exploring your family's ancestry, we say you should know your root. And by that we mean have a goal or goals. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is it you want to know? What's the ultimate outcome that you would like? And then that helps you to determine which way to go. So are you looking to find out if you were not if you were adopted, but find your adoptive parents or your adoptive biological family? Are you looking for a specific African connection? Are you interested in one side of the family tree or another? We've got lots of branches to this thing called the family tree, and so which one of those specific branches are you looking at, and are you interested in? And then explore that one specifically. So there's a lot of things that can be done, and having an objective up front means all the world of difference between having a successful experience and having a very frustrating experience. So I want to encourage you to give it some thought before you do it. Are you interested in finding family members, names and birth dates and locations? Or are you interested in finding out something genetic about disease or about ancestry? Again, all of those things would dictate the path you take. Sci-Y, we have that, Sci-Y. Make sure that the science is there. Make sure that if you're going in a science direction, that the company you're using has the DNA that you're looking for. Make sure that they have a sample size that makes sense to you. Make sure that they have the type of DNA that you're interested in. If you want to know about a specific branch of your family tree, then autosomal DNA is not going to help you. If you want to know how much of some ancestry you have from a certain place, then a Y chromosome or a mitochondrial DNA lineage isn't going to help you. So again, do some research. We get so many calls. Oh my goodness, we get so many calls every day from people who they don't even try. Like they don't even think first about a basic question. Zero critical thinking, and they just come with this big blob of a question or a desire, and then we have to decipher. There's a lot you can do up front to really make it a lot easier for you. Swab meet. Only takes one person, depending on the type of test you take, and you can share those results with everyone in the family. So we encourage you to, if you're doing DNA testing, again, make sure you understand what kind of testing you're doing and who the results will apply to. That way, you know who you can share it with. You can even sell them the results if you want to try and make some of your money back. I know people do that. Okay, now that's all about the genetics, right? But then that's just one component, right? So genetic ancestry tracing is researching a person, a family, or a group using genetic material, biological material, your saliva, your cheek cells, your blood, whatever it is. Genealogy is very different. Genealogy is researching that same person or family or group, but using written and oral records. And so genealogy and genetic ancestry work in a complementary way, but neither one can give you all the answers to all the questions. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do from a genealogical perspective to, if you've already taken a DNA test, or if you're not quite ready to take a DNA test, or if the question you're interested in answering has nothing to do with DNA. Here are some of the things you can do. So you can use U.S. Census data. You can find that online at the library. You can come to DC and go to the archives. You can go out to Salt Lake City, sit down with the Mormons and research their vast collection of genealogical records. Yep, Peachy, I was getting to that. Interview the elders of the family. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Thank you, Peachy. Okay. That's the next one, oral hygiene. So interview your oldest relatives, and it's so easy now. We all have smartphones. I'm sure you have a tablet. And if you have a young person, that's a really cool way to get them engaged. Have them be the interviewer. You can do it with video. You can just do it with audio, and help them to collect questions. We actually have some questions that we can share with you if you're interested, but have them do the interview and collect the stories. I was just sitting yesterday afternoon in a meeting with a sister who, I think she said she actually didn't say how old she is, but I think she might be in her early 60s. And she said that she can remember so clearly listening to her grandmother and her aunts talk and telling stories, and she and her brothers and sisters were bored stiff and weren't paying attention and didn't want to be bothered. And now that those elders are gone, she's like, I have questions. I need answers. And the brain trust is no longer there. So please, if you do nothing else, find the elders of the family and sit down and just get them talking. A lot of times people say, oh, well, they don't want to talk. They don't want to share the information. It's too painful. And that's why I think if you get a young person in on it, they may be likely to open up more. Organized time. So you get all this information, then what do you do with it? So you could start a family tree project. People are at reunions this summer. I'm sure there's a big family tree up on the wall. I know the Page family and the Saunders family. We have a huge family tree that is constantly being added to. And so these interviews, the bits of information you get from the interviews, the bits of information you get from the research can all be added to make the family tree more robust and even more beautiful. And then there's some extra stuff out there, right? So you could look at newspapers from the time period to understand what kinds of things are going on during that time. You can also look at black newspapers. Did you all know there's the NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association of America? That's an organization of black-owned newspapers. You can find your family history in the newspaper, in military records. There are other things there to help you explore. Okay, let's see. Okay, and then stay connected. So once you have this information, how do you share it? Well, I mean, we're here on Facebook, right? You can create a Facebook group in a split second and have and it can be private or closed just to your family, and you all can share the information there. And that actually might get people to start adding information that they hadn't thought about. Peachy says she's been doing genealogy for over 15 years. And seems like she's an expert in the Carolinas, which is cool. 15 years, you are an OG, but there are some people who've been doing this for a long time. We actually collaborate with some genealogists. I wanted to share their information. Dean Henry is up in Philadelphia, in the Philadelphia area, and his website is familypearl.com. We'll have that on the link below, but he does professional genealogy research, as does Shar Ba. She's here in the DC area. I believe she's a specialist in Virginia, but she's been doing genealogy for years and years and years, and is a welcome resource for you. There's the African American or Afro-American Historical and Genealogical Society. It's called OGS. OGS is a fabulous resource. They have chapters all over the country. They're having a cruise this year for their annual conference, and that is a group of serious folks who can help you figure anything out about African American genealogists. And then there's a resource, afrogenius.com. I would check them out too. So again, we encourage you to look at your genetic ancestry history, but also look at your genealogical history, because these two things work in tandem. Hey Chris, I owe you a response. So that's what I had to say about that. Last week, if you joined us, you know that I kind of went off a little bit on somebody who who tried to position us as a fraud. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to the people who are listening, who are watching, and who will watch, to talk about, this idea that, and I think it's unique to a black business. This week, I've gotten an email, and we've also gotten a post. The email, the guy felt like he had been ripped off and deceived, and that's what he expects from a black-owned business. And if he had wanted to, he already knew that he was African heritage. That's not what he wanted. Now, for those of you all who have taken our test, you know that that's what we do. We help you identify your ancestry, and when it's African, we put it in a present-day country in Africa and an ethnic group. So while this guy knew that he was African, he didn't know that he shared ancestry with the Akan people living in Ghana today, but apparently that wasn't valuable to him. And so because that wasn't valuable to him, we're a fraud. Because he didn't read the materials that told him what he was going to be doing, and we're a fraud. Because he took another company's test and they gave him something different in terms of connecting him to names and people, we're a fraud. So I just want to encourage the community that just because you don't read the materials that you purchase, you don't do any kind of research up front to make sure you understand what you're doing, doesn't mean that the company is untruthful, is inauthentic, is deceitful, is a fraud. It doesn't mean any of that. And I think we are especially quick to criticize our businesses about that. Well, I do know the reason. I was going to say for some reason, but that's I don't know, that might be a different post, but that's an aspect of colonized thinking. I'll just say that. Miranda Morris. All right. Thank you, Miranda, and I'm glad you're part of the family. You know, we get a lot of people who have been sharing their results. We have Stephanie Jones, who sent us a post telling us about her family's ancestry among the Mafa people living in Cameroon today and how excited they were. She had the flag up and everything. So thank you for sharing that, Miranda, and tell us what ethnic group and country your ancestry is from if you have it handy. We also had Jerome Bragg. I want to shout him out. He let us know about his family's Yoruba ancestry in Nigeria as a result of having taken our test. So thanks to you all, and please continue to share your family's reactions and results with us so that we can share them. Like I said last week, you all are our army. We don't have $1 million to blanket the airways. What we have is you. And so to the extent that you feel comfortable, that you're excited about the results that you've gotten from us, please help us spread the word. I also wanted to share another post. So one of the things that we've been doing is posting infographics to help you really understand what African Ancestry's tests are about and how we're different from the other companies. And one of our infographic facts is that Ancestry DNA was started in 2012. And we got a response from someone who said, "You lie." I don't know if she's related to that representative from South Carolina, Joe Wilson or John Wilson, who shouted "you lie" during Obama's State of the Union speech. But I felt like "you lie" is kind of harsh, because the fact of the matter is that she may have purchased a DNA test from Ancestry.com before 2012. However, if she really knew the history, which again goes back to knowing the root and doing some research, then she would see that Ancestry.com was partnered with another company out of the UK that was offering DNA test kits. So that wasn't their main line of business. They were just working with another company to distribute those tests. And they earnestly joined the business and named it AncestryDNA.com in 2012. Whether they started in 2009 when she bought her test, or 2012 when it's recorded in their materials, it was still after us. That's not a lie. We were founded in 2003, and that's the point. We're the pioneers of using this technology for Black folks. That's the point. We're not trying to lie. We're not trying to put other people down. We're just sharing the facts. Okay, let me see. I had mine done and totally surprised when they came back. Spain and Portugal. Yeah, that must have been a paternal test. And you know, you've heard me say that on this show a lot, that 35% of the paternal lineages, father to father to father, that we trace come back non-African. They come back European. And when they come back British or Spanish or Portuguese, you shouldn't be surprised, because those are the colonizers. Those were the countries where the men were having their way with our women during the period of slavery in the Americas and in the Caribbean. So, yeah, Spain and Portugal. But you know what? I have Portugal too. Welcome to the family. All of us do. None of us is 100% African. We all have something else in us, and the vast majority of us, that something else is European. Some of y'all might have Native American. I don't know. I'm staying out of that. So that's what I have for you this week. I want to encourage you to, if you have questions for us that you want to share, email them to us at fblive@africanancestry.com, or you can give us a call, email us at info@africanancestry.com. You can do whatever you want. Hello from Brazil. Brazil, well, hello. I wish I could speak Portuguese. I'm planning to take your test to see where in Africa my family is from. All right. Well, thank you. And we have lots of Brazilians that have taken our test. You know, there's a production company in Brazil called Cinegroup, and they've done a documentary called DNA Africa. They actually tested 150 black Brazilians from 5 states in Brazil. And they took one of the people back to the African country that their ancestry was traced to, and so that's a really interesting series. You know what? I don't know if they've finished that yet. We'll find out what the status of that is and post a link so that you can see it. And I can't see your name, Sieber maybe. And so that everybody can watch it, because they're going to subtitle it as well. Okay, so that's what we have. Thank you for checking in. Oh, I forgot something. Family reunion information. We're still pushing our family reunion information. If you send us an email, we'll shoot you a package of information that you can use in your family reunion. It's got some articles. It's got a family tree builder. It's got
tracing tips.
These family ancestry tracing tips that I went through with you earlier, and some other stuff. But it's really cool. So just shoot us an email. We'll get your address and we'll mail those things out to you. Okay, Miranda, you got in just under the gun. The Mende people living in Sierra Leone on your dad's side. Oh, that's cool. You know, Sierra Leone is one of the countries that we find results from the most often, and the Mende are the group that we find the most often when it is Sierra Leone. So you've got a lot of cousins out there, Miranda, and you can talk to them on the African Ancestry online community. That's another criticism we got from that guy. You can tell that email kind of rubbed me the wrong way, huh? I just don't understand it. Like there's a way to talk to people, and there's a way to express your disappointment. So once I calm down, I'll respond to him in that way. So thank you. I will talk to you all next Wednesday, and we'll have some more information for you, and probably some more clapbacks from our from our disgruntled consumers who okay. Bye.